Hello, I'm Has, and in this video I will show you how to create and deploy a robust RESTful API in 10 minutes with Node.js, MongoDB, and Express. First, you will need to download and install Node.js, so if you haven't did this yet, visit nodejs.org. You will also need to download and install the MongoDB service if you want to run your API locally. We are going to use the Postman app to call our API and see if it's working. We are going to deploy it on Heroku using the Heroku CLI. And finally, we are going to use yeoman-generator REST to generate a boilerplate to a project. All we are going to do here is described in its README, so go there if you have any doubts. Once you have Node.js and npm installed, open your terminal and type npm install-g eo and generator rest to install Yeoman and our generator. Wait for the installation to complete and make a new directory to our project. Change to that directory and run eo-rest, which will generate our project. Choose a name to the project and continue responding to the questions. It will run npm install for you. Wait for the installation to complete and now you can open your code editor to see the generated code. As you can see, it already created the directory structure and added the user and auth APIs as well as services and configuration files. It also has a host.js file where we import our APIs. Talking about that, let's create a new API, running the command eo-rest::API. We can define the API name, article for example. We can just go on, enable all HTTP methods to this API and make some accessible only by authenticated users. We will also generate a model for our article API and define the title and content fields. If you open the route.js file, you can see that article API has been added to the import declarations. It also have created the folder with the source code of the API. Back to terminal, now we have some commands we can use inside our project, like npm install, npm run lint, and others. But for now, we are going to use npm run build to create a distribution package for our API. It will build the files into this folder so you can go to this directory and create a new repository there to be deployed. Now we are going to use the Heroku CLI to deploy our API and we will follow the process described in the generator repository README. We need to create a new app on Heroku. It can be done with a single command, Heroku apps create. After that, we need to add the Heroku Git remote reference to the local repository. We can confirm if it had been added by running git remote-v. The next step is adding the MongoLab service to our Heroku app so it can work with a database. Now we must pass our environment variables to the Heroku app. These variables are defined in the file .env in the root directory of our project. We can just copy and paste each of them and run the command Heroku config set. Finally, we need to commit and push the build files to the Heroku remote repository, and Heroku will handle the deployment. We can type Heroku open to open our deployed app in the browser. Now we are going to use Postman to see if it's working. But we still don't know how to call our API. We need a documentation, so back to terminal, we need to back to the root directory and type npm run docs. It will generate a full documentation to our API. There we can see how to create a user, for example. We need to send a post request to the user's endpoint, passing an access token with a master key, the email and password. Inside Postman, we just set the HTTP method to post, change the URL to users, and grab our master key to send to the API. We also pass the email and password of our new user. It will respond with the user data we have just created. We have actually done a sign-up process. Now we need to sign in the user and grab an access token to make authenticated requests. We just send a post request to the auth endpoint with a basic header authentication passing the email and password of the user we just created. We also need to pass the master key as this is a protected endpoint. It will respond with the user data and the token we can use to make authenticated requests. With this, we'll call our article API, sending a post request to create a new article. As this is a user-protected endpoint, we must pass the token we just received and, of course, the article data. It will respond with the data of the article we have just created. If you send a GET request to the articles endpoint, we can receive a list of articles on the server, which is currently just one. So let's create another one and see if it's returned on the list. Yeah, so here they are. We can refer to our documentation to see what more we can do. For example, we can delete the article we have just created. To do that, we need to send a delete request and pass the ID in the URL. As you can see, we still have two articles returned by the GET request. When you delete, we receive a 204 no content status, which means that the resource was successfully deleted. We can confirm that by calling getArticles again, and it won't return the deleted article. This GET request can also be done in the browser because it makes GET requests by default. So this is our production-ready API. Please visit the repository to contribute and find more information.